Hello, 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 hello. When I can speak, I do have dogs in the background. If you hear any noise, I apologise. It will be the doggies doing what they do. And hello, Cebuana. How are you? I hope you're well. Hello, Lee. So I apologise, obviously, if you hear the dogs in the background. I can't help that. I'm afraid they're going to do what they're going to do. So we're going through Yorkshire jokes, and these are traditional Yorkshire jokes. Hi, Shandy. So, I am from Yorkshire. Why are you grey again? Why does it keep doing this? I'm on StreamYards as well, Shandy, so I can't even change it. I'd have to go on YouTube onto chat to change it. I don't understand why it keeps doing it. Hi, Wade. I don't know. Hello, MLA. Hope you're right. I don't know. I'll sort it out, Shandy. It keeps doing it all the time, and I don't know why. And I'm not actually on YouTube as such. I'm using StreamYard. So in order to get on my chat, I'd have to load my laptop and everything to be able to do it. But I will redo it. I don't know why it keeps doing it. I haven't got a clue. Um, but saying that, it has been unscribing me to some channels, and I've had to resubscribe to them again. So, yeah, it's been a bit dodgy anyway at the moment. So, these are Yorkshire jokes. I am Yorkshire myself, but I don't actually speak as Yorkshire as I should, I suppose. Um, so, when I tell these jokes, firstly, I may not even understand it myself. Secondly, I'm going to sound a little bit strange, I'm afraid. But traditionally, this is how people would talk in my area. If you went to my next door neighbour, for example, they would definitely be talking like some of these phrases. So we shall start with the great, it's called The Great Yorkshire Joke Book. Dalesman, it's a Dalesman book. Age. A Beverley man who visited an old friend on his 101st birthday, shook hands with him and asked him how he was. Oh, very nicely, said the old man. I'm better on my legs than I was 100 years ago. A discussion on longevity took place in the day centre. An old lady said, I'd like to see my 100th birthday. If I do, or if I dee at 99 by heck, I'll be right vexed. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Yeah, I heard that you were grey, Shandy. I can't change it. I'm in StreamYards. I'm not on actual YouTube. I'm in StreamYards. Can anybody tell me what that means? I'd like to see my 100th birthday. If I dee at 99, by heck, I'll be right vexed. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Oh, oh, peed off. Right, got you. Right, fair enough. Angling. An Airedale fisherman making his way home after a fruitless day's angling called at a friend's house. Ah, haven't had a bait all day. Haven't had a bait all day today, he remarked. The lady of the house jumped to her feet, exclaiming, Eh, what? I'll put kettle on. Thou'll be famished. Is that how they speak? Is that how they actually speak? Wow. I'll put kettle on. See, it says, I'll put the kettle on. They'll be fair famished. What? It's not even a joke, it just sounds crazy. Art. A boy in the art class was asked to draw a house. The teacher commented, "What's that funny thing on top?" "A chimney, but there isn't any smoke," said the young artist. "They're not up yet. They're not up yet." An artist was putting the finishing touches to a watercolour of a cottage at Robin Hood's Bay when a fisherman glanced over his shoulder, admired the picture, and asked what would happen to it. "I may send it to an exhibition, probably in London," the fisherman, much impressed, said. "That's my cottage. Would you mind painting a bit of it?" "Telling folk I'll let it out to summer." What does that mean? "Telling folk I'll let it out to summer." I don't know what that means. See, this is the thing. I'm Yorkshire and I don't know what it means. It makes no sense to me, none of this. Percy Monkman was completing a painting in Dent when a shower of rain induced him to take refuge in a large opening next to an inn. A passing resident looked at the picture, then said, "I'll tell thee what, lad, when thou's done it, thou wants to take it into pub. Thou'll get a fiver for it. I've seen 'em. Give 'em a fiver for a lot worse than that, thou knows." And that's actually how they speak, yeah. That's how my next door neighbour speaks, but I don't speak like that. It's weird. Two photographers met. One said, "My granny's just fallen down the stairs." His friend, much concerned, said, "What did you give her?" He replied, "Oh, 111. What does that mean? Shandy, what does that mean? Oh, see, I'm glad you're here. Because if you weren't here, Shandy, I wouldn't understand these, so I'm going to need your help. Big time. Bedtime. What's up to grandson's little bed? I need to seek to creep. This thought is running through me head. I'll read, I'm off to sleep. I think that's like a bedtime rhyme that they used to do for kids. I'll do it again, it's a bedtime rhyme. When up to grandson's little bed, I need to seek to creep. This thought is running through me head. I'll read him off to sleep. Yeah, I know. I did see him have his live. He's not here though, is he? Oh, it carries on as well, actually, on the other page. Are you ready? "And picking up a book of rhyme, let critics sneer and scoff. I read and read right up to time, as youngsters dozes off. But to the neat, at her side to bed, it happens now and then. I read and yawned and read, and went to sleep mysen." Yeah, that's all I know, Shandy. Sleep tight, don't let the bugs bite. 'Cause I don't know any of these. Granny suggested to young Catherine that she might count sheep to send her to sleep. Next morning, Catherine said, "I couldn't get to sleep because when I reached 122, I couldn't remember which number came next." Really? Really? "Tha's got out th' wrong side of bed." Wow. "Tha's argued we out. That's been said. Even looked for a fight. Thou should have gone out tonight, but thou got out left side instead." What? What? What is that? What does that mean? "Thou's got out th' wrong side of bed. Thou's argued wi' aught that's been said. Even looked for a fate. Thou should have got out on th' right, but thou got out on left side instead."
Aw.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Books. The Exdale farmer's wife said to her daughter, "I hope that's a nice book you're reading." Her daughter replied, "It's a lovely book, but I don't think you would like it. It's sad at the end. She leaves him, and he has to go back to his wife." Oh my God, how convenient is that? Yeah. Oh my God, Shandy, how convenient is that? Hello, Shandy, this is yours, isn't it? This is yours. I've got to read that again. This is just for Shandy, this, definitely. The Exdale farmer's wife said to her daughter, I hope that's a nice book you're reading. Her daughter replied, It's a lovely book, but I don't think you would like it. It's sad at the end. She leaves him and he has to go back to his wife. Any comments, Shandy, on that? Oh, I can't. I just can't. That's so convenient. It's unreal. Yeah, exactly, Shandy. Say again. How convenient is that? It's unreal, isn't it? It's so convenient. Canals. A barge was seen cutting two groves in the masonry of a bridge above the towpath. He said, My oss keeps catching. His lugs on bridge. His friend remarked, Why doesn't thou dig some of the bank away? Nay, said the bargee. I can't even read this. It's tugs that are catching, not its feet. I don't even understand this. Are you sure I'm Yorkshire? I'm not Yorkshire, am I? I can't be Yorkshire, Shandy, because I don't understand it. Like, this is literally how they speak in Yorkshire. But I don't understand that because I can't even read it, let alone understand it. It makes no sense. To me, it makes none. Do you understand it, Shandy? Do you understand it, Lee?
Some of it, yeah. Not all of it, though.
I don't understand it. How?
One foot says made in Ireland, one foot says made in
Look, I'm a mongrel. I'm gypsy, actually, but I'm a mongrel. I'm a mongrel. That's what I am. Clothing. He stroked his suit and felt right chuffed. He knew they'd not a clue. It wasn't suit he'd had for years, but t'other half of two. So basically, he sewed two together, then I'm guessing. Shandy, I need your help with these. These are weird. Like, I don't understand them. I really don't. I'm trying to. I am. But I just don't. Entertainment. The television set at Wharfledale Farm was decrepit. Asked if he was thinking of buying another television, the farmer remarked, I've not but getting used to fork on this set. What does that mean? What does that mean? I don't understand. Shandy, I'm lost. I really don't understand this Yorkshire book. I don't think I'm Yorkshire. Do it yourself. A neighbour found a man scraping wallpaper off the walls. Was he redecorating? Nay, was the reply. We're moving house. Extracted from a police accident report. I looked for the sign, but the more I looked, the more I couldn't find it. I don't understand it. Shandy, do you? I don't understand none of this. I really don't. It's really confusing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know I'm easily confused. I get that, right? But if I'm meant, like, I am meant to be Yorkshire, these are meant to be Yorkshire sayings, and I don't understand them. There's got to be something wrong here, and I think it's me that's problem. I mean, it's meant to be humour, fact, and folklore from Dales. That's what it's meant to be. You know? Humour, fact, and folklore from the Dales, but I just don't see how it fits. I really don't. Time. There's never nought, but what's there summat. And when there's summat, it's often nought. And them that Alice thinks are summat. Has nearly Alice arisen for a nought. It's no use sitting and waiting for summat. Because more often it's never tends win out. And come to think on it, these lines I penned are mostly somewhere to part note. Eh? Eh?
It's all about now.
Well, yeah, no, it's all about note, but I don't think I'm Yorkshire, you know. I really don't think I am. I think I've been lied to. I really do. I think I've been lied to because I don't know these. Proverbs. Never go to auction, we are nodding acquaintance. The chapper gets up with, Lark hasn't had one's evening afore. What? What? It doesn't make any sense. I can't be doing with that at all. I can't. I just can't. Oops. That's not. I mean, no. It's meant to be Yorkshire sayings. So, like, it's meant to be how we speak in Yorkshire. But I've never spoke like that. Although saying that, right, I do believe my neighbours do sometimes speak like that. But I haven't. What's this one? Oh God, this one's old. Sorry to bits, this look. Oh, you were joking, sorry. I didn't realise. So yeah, even I don't understand those. And I don't know, like, if I'm Yorkshire, then why do I not understand them? It doesn't make sense. Not to me, anyway. And it's like, I'm reading them and I'm thinking, I've never heard that in my life. You know, I was brought up by my grandma, but I've never heard those types of sayings in my life anyway. So I'm not sure. Let's see. I've got many different, like, really old books. I'm trying to find a date on this one as I go through it. Should be a background. Let's have a look. Can't find the date on it, actually. Seems very old. It's a 78. So yeah, it's an old one. This one. It's got like various different things in it. But again, I'm not sure if I'm going to understand it. Have you heard this one? A woman was driving the wrong way down a one-way street and was stopped by a policeman. Didn't you see the arrows? Asked the policeman. Arrows? Replied the woman. I didn't even see the Indians. Oh dear God. Oh dear God. What? Bob, did you hear about the two blood cells? Rob. No, what about them? Bob. They loved in vain. A car broke down one night outside a monastery, and the monks invited the stranded motorist to have dinner with them. The fish and chips he ate were so good that the motorist afterwards went into the kitchen to congratulate the cook. Are you the fish fryer? He asked. No, came the reply. I'm the chipmunk. What? 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 See? Don't understand that. Don't understand it. Teacher, let's talk about the grizzly bear. Does anyone know if we get fur from him? Jimmy. I'd get as far from him as possible, obviously. A man walked into a shop with a lump of jelly in one ear and a dollop of custard in the other. I say, said the shopkeeper, do you know you've got a lump of jelly in one ear and a dollop of custard in the other? You'll have to speak up, replied the man. I'm a trifle deaf. Oh dear. Butler. The invisible man's outside. Lord Prune. Tell him I can't see him. Obviously. Did you ever hear about the cross-eyed teacher who had no control over his pupils? I don't get that one either. The class were on a nature walk when Tommy said to the teacher, what has 8 legs, 6 eyes, yellow spots, and purple spikes down its back? I've never heard of such a thing, the teacher replied. Well, said Tommy, there's one on your collar now. Why was Cinderella thrown out of the hockey team? Because she ran away from the ball. Oh my lord. I know, Shandy, I can't do anything because I'm actually on StreamYards and I'm not on YouTube. Last time I was actually on the YouTube itself, so I can't change it on StreamYards. I'd have to load it up on the laptop and change it, which obviously it'd take me a while and then you just get bored. So the Thunder God went for a ride on his favourite horse. I'm Thor, he cried. The horse replied, you forgot your faddle, filly. What? What? Did you hear about 2 potatoes who didn't see eye to eye? When one took his jacket off, the other thought he'd had his chips. Yeah. An old lady bought 3 packets of mothballs and came back to the shop the next day. 6 more packets of mothballs, please, she said. The assistant looked surprised. You must have a lot of moths. Yes, replied the old lady. I've spent a whole day throwing these things at them, but I've only hit one so far. Oh my god. Oh no. Well, I might try that. Yeah, good idea. Okay. There once was a young lady residing. Sorry, guys. Residing at Prague. Bear with me 2 minutes. Pages. This is from 1978. So I'm trying to work out the words that are missing because they're obviously, with being so old, 1978 is quite a while away. You know, April 1978, actually. There once was a young lady residing at Prague whose ideas were really mostly wonderfully vague. When anyone said to her, what a fine day, roast chicken is nice, she would dreamily say, and mushrooms on toast is the very best thing to make a canary or hummingbird sing. The people of Prague thought this conduct so strange. They quickly decided she needed a change. So packed her with care in a box with some hay and paid her expenses as far as Bombay. I do believe they're talking about a woman. How odd. I suppose we'll get extra pay for working overtime. Now it shows a picture of someone working on the top of Big Ben. So on the top of Big Ben, there's a person working and it says, I suppose we'll get extra pay for working overtime. And that's what it kind of means, I guess, you know. What are you on about? Elbow call, video call. I don't understand what these are, Wade. I'm lost. I'm lost. Some old favourites. There once was a young lady from Ryde who ate a green apple and died. The apple fermented inside the lamented and made cider inside. Oh my God. There was a young man of Bengal who went to a fancy dress ball. He thought he would risk it and go for a biscuit, but a dog ate him up in the hall. There once was an old man from Nantucket who kept all his cash in a bucket. His daughter, named Nan, ran away with a man, and as for the bucket, Nan took it. There once was a young lady of Riga, and she smiled as she rode on a tiger. They returned from the ride with the lady inside and the smile on the face of a tiger. These are bizarre, aren't they? Very bizarre. I'm round. What? You are found. I'm so lost. I'm so lost.
We're just asked Sean about
Oh, yeah.
why he's just commenting on that.
Hi, so Henry King, who chewed bits of string and was early cut off in a dreadful agonies. What does that mean? Does anybody know what that means? Henry King, who chewed bits of string and was early cut off in dreadful agonies. And it says the chef defect of Henry King was chewing little bits of string. At last he swallowed some which tied. It's very interesting. I'm not sure what that means though. At all, to be honest. But yeah, this book's from April 1978, so it's fairly old, isn't it? Animal Antics. First dog. My name is Fido. What's yours? Second dog. I'm not sure, but I think it's Down Boy. Why do giraffes have such small appetites? Because with them, a little goes a long way. What is a bull called when he's asleep? A bulldozer. What did the beaver say to the tree? It was nice knowing you. What kind of animals can jump higher than an house? All kind, because houses can't jump. Houses can't jump, guys. Remember that, yeah? I don't want to read a really long one because there's some that go on for pages and pages and pages. The Greedy Boy. The boy stood in the supper room, whence all but he had fled. He'd eaten 7 what? 7 pints of jam? Wow, and he was gorged with bread. Oh, one more crust before I bust, he cried in accents wild. He kicked the plates, he sucked the spoons. He was a vulgar child. This is not a nice one, is it? At all. There came a burst of thunder around. The boy, oh, where was he? Ask of the maid who mopped him up the breadcrumbs and the tea. That's an horrible one. Basically, he ate himself to death because he exploded. That's gross. Who does that? Nobody wants to read that. Nobody. I'm not sure I like these books. They're a bit weird. Don't you think, guys? I think they're a bit weird. I think they're a bit weird. I really do. They're not normal, are they? Daft definitions. Archaeologist. A man whose career lies in ruins. Barbecue. People waiting to have their hair cut. Cabbage. Your taxi fare. Draftsman. One who leaves doors open. Extinct. The smell of bad eggs. Fireplace. A shooting range. Goldilocks. Glider keyholes. Intense. Where campers sleep. Jugsbud, a Chinese sailor. Kindred, fear of one's relations. Legend, a foot. Minimum, a very small mother. Navigate, entrance used by labourers. Onward, where a nurse works. Pillory, place where tablets are made. Does anybody understand these? Because I don't. I really don't. I don't understand them. They sound crazy. Honestly, they sound absolutely crazy. They don't sound normal at all. I don't understand. See, this is what I was saying, Shandy, about reading Yorkshire things. It's okay reading Yorkshire things, but you have to actually understand it. And I don't. I'm just sat here I, well, clueless if I'm honest. Clueless. They're very, very bizarre. Very bizarre. I'm empathic. I'm like, what? I have no idea what you're on about, Shandy. Does anybody actually know what? Can anybody speak Yorkshire fluently and know what it means? I'd love to know. Because I can't. And I've tried reading these books, and I'll be honest with you, they don't make any sense to me. They make no sense. I don't think they're funny. Maybe odd one. I can't read them properly without getting my tongue tied. I just don't understand them. I think I'm going to have to change the title of this video for definite, guys, because I am not reading any more Yorkshire junk because I don't understand it. I can't relate to it. So, since I'm not going to do that, would you like to hear some very old witchcraft spells from the Prima Materia? Which is the Magnus, of course. Which they're very odd because when you look at the Prima Materia, the start of it all, and I'm gonna have to load laptop off, aren't I? Because you're all being dicks. I can see you.
We're not being dicks.
Hang on, Shandy. I'm loading laptop up. 2 minutes.
It's only Shandy that spat dummy out.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. Look at what you're saying. I don't blame her. I've been in here as well. 2 minutes, Shandy. I'll lay them on you. 2 minutes. But bear in mind.
Shandy, if you say one more word, I'm going to time you out.
No, you're not. They're not because I'm gonna make you blue in a minute. No problem. Wade, I'm gonna go on to spells because I didn't like the Yorkshire things. I don't understand them, Wade. I am from Yorkshire. I'm actually in Yorkshire right now, but I don't understand what they mean. I don't think they're funny, Wade. I don't understand them. I really don't. Right, bear with me, Shandy. Just load it up. And then I should be able to sort it out. I don't know why it keeps doing this. And I'm going to change the title as well, obviously, because I'm going to go into spells instead because I know spells. I'm okay with spells. I understand them and I can translate them for you if need to. But Yorkshire? I do not know Yorkshire. Right, hang on now. Here we go. Try that, Shandy. Well, you're sexy, I can tell. That should have worked. I need you to type though. Oh yeah, there she is. There you go, you twat. Can't send out now.
Fuck's sake, we're getting peace and quiet. I want to time her out.
She'll time you out back. Anyway, is that better, Shandy? Have I done it? I've done it. Yay. There we go. I just loaded it up on the laptop, so. Right, so what we'll start with natural magic. Thank you. It's okay, you can swear on here. You know, I swear a lot, Shandy, so it's all good. It's a comprehensive knowledge of all nature. You know, it's the secrets of metals, earth, animals, plants, it's all that good stuff. However, it is said Satan instituted a coercion of the seed of man, and with the seed in the womb of a junior witch, and that's what happened apparently. We were corrupted because Satan decided to plant his seed in a junior witch, which means he screwed a young witch and she had a baby. You know, so it's just fucking in it, you know. I'm a pelvic area. But yeah, anyway, and from this new conception, this new birth, and afterwards came forth the adulteress and the generations of fairies, gnomes, nymphs, sylphs, dryads, nereids, mermaids, sirens, and all the other monsters and whatever you want to call them. They came from this one seed that came from Lucifer or Satan himself into a junior witch. And that's where we go back to when we look at sort of basic magic. It takes you all the way back to those times. Now, growing up, I was taught something very different. I was told it was Lilith and Lucifer, not Adam and Eve first. However, there is also the theory that there's Diana, and Diana being Lucifer's sister, she tricked him into sleeping with her to create a child. And she basically wanted his light. That's where we get the Dianos. So we have Diana, Dianos, and that is basically Diana and Lucifer. So that's like different concepts of classes, I guess. There is so many different theories behind it all that it would be hard to get them all out in one go. Yeah, Lilith's an interesting character, interesting energy, you know. So if we look at, I'm not going to all that stuff, but I'll tell you that I was taught that it was Lilith and Lucifer, not Adam and Eve first. That's what I was taught. Does not make it fact, okay? Nothing is fact here. It's all theory, tradition, what I was brought up on. It is not fact. Nuh-uh. I'm not really interested in him. He never really entered my life as such. Mine's very much based on very old times and not the new shit that he puts out. So I dove in her like she was liquid. Interesting. That's a nice thing. That's weird. So if we look at really old magic, it's quite bizarre. And it does have a lot of sacrifice in it, a lot of blood, obviously. If anyone, yeah, I know all about it, Sean. It really doesn't interest me. It was never in my upbringing. My upbringing was very much feminine empowered. and he never interested me, and he will never interest me. So, if anyone shall with a new knife cut asunder a lemon, using words of expressive hatred, bear that in mind, expressive hatred or dislike against any individual, even an absent person that is at a distance, they shall feel the inexpressible cutting anguish of the heart, with chills and a failure throughout the body. In animals living, such as a pigeon, cutting through the heart of a pigeon while stating your words, the pigeon must be alive, causes the heart of the intended to sudden failure. Suspending an image of a person via a single thread can be fatal. Which basically what it means is there's a certain spell where I don't talk about him, I don't like him. He wasn't in my life. I was never brought up with that kind of person around me. Mine was all feminine based. It was Lilith and Lucifer. It was Pan. It was very different. But there is videos that I've already uploaded regarding my upbringing, and it was almost I don't want to say mind control because that's just not right, but uh, it was a conditioned way of living. I was conditioned that way. I was conditioned to believe certain things. I was conditioned to do certain things. Um, you know, apparently the application of hare's fat will pull out any thorn that is in the skin, if you are willing, of course, to cut out the hare's fat within the hair and apply it to your skin. Is it though? Is it though what? Is it though what? I don't know what you mean. Cure a toothache with a stone that is the head of a toad. Do you know what that means? Cure a toothache with a stone that is the head of a toad. Do you know what that means? Lee doesn't. He should.
Probably do.
I believe in. I've got my own beliefs. I believe in Lucifer. I know he's real. He's an angel of light, not what they think. He just didn't want to be controlled by God. That's all. He wanted people to be equal. God is nothing but a control system for the many people.
Yeah.
Well, basically, what it means is on particular frogs, there is a certain mark that you're looking for. And with a stone that is the head of the frog, is basically you're looking for a particular frog with a particular mark on it, basically. So there's little things like that that only certain people will know, you know. I'm fine to discuss it on a later live stream. I will do a live stream about that because I have my own theories behind all that bullshit. Yeah. So now, if you catch a living frog before sunrise, you will need to spit in the mouth of the frog, and this will cure your asthma. Find a frog, spit in its mouth, no more asthma. Not tried that. Not willing to try it either. But it's an interesting one. Yeah, I think this world's very backwards when it comes to worship and things because, you know, I have nothing against Jesus. I actually quite like Jesus, but to me, He was a hippie that wanted to install love and peace within everyone, and it all got just. The Bible's a story of its day. The Bible is a story of its day, and it's a very good story, I admit. It's a brilliant story, but it's just a story. The right or left eyes of a frog can cure blindness, if you're willing to make sure that it's from the same creature, of course. Yes, you would have to eat the eyes. The fat of a viper cures a bite. Of course it does. If you can get the fat out of a viper, it will cure your snake bite, basically. Black hellebore eases headaches, but you would need to apply it to the head, or you would have to sniff it in a powder form up your nose. Coral, a preservative, is able to protect and combat poisons worn around the necks of children. It would help, obviously, younger generations are more prone to more diseases. So it would help them in those tender years. Coral amulets, talismans, are usually, back in these days, from the prima materia, from the MAGNUS, not from what I was learnt, this is from something else, would be God assisting. They would be God assisting to prevent all harm and accidents. And you would need to look at the works of sort of Van Helmont's. Van Helmont's has got some work regarding all this, and he goes right into the process of making preservative amulets and things like that. I do have some information here. This was about the plague, you know. He came up with it was a preservative amulet against the plague. And it was in the month of July, in the decrease of the moon, the waxing moon that is. I took an old toad, whose eyes abounded with white worms hanging forth into black heads, so that both the eyes were totally formed with worms, perhaps 50 in numbers, thickly compacted together, their heads hanging. And I bet you don't understand that, do you? I bet you don't. Anyway, by applying his 4-foot 4-blade to hanging up the toad, basically, he would make the toad vomit. And it would induce more insects into that vomit matter that had been ejected from the toad. And then he would sort of make a wax type dish where he would then add the dried carcass to the toad, and then he would reduce it into powder. Once it were reduced into powder, he would use different gums with it, and it would be wore by the left breast of a person. So yeah, it basically requires hanging toads up, making the toads vomit, killing the toads, letting the carcasses dry out, and then basically with the vomit you would mix in other insects, and you would also mix in the rest of the dried carcass of the toads and make that into an amulet and wear it by the right breast. So yeah, it was for an amulet against plague. It subdued the poison as well, apparently. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. It's not like I'm ever going to know that, but it's just what was used back then, I guess. Generally things were fermented and putrefied to allow for minimal odour coming from them, because obviously that if not, the odour would be quite nasty, wouldn't it? And when an amulet has been formed, it was back in them days. They were actually, most of them were used somewhat with a toad or a frog, like one of them would be included. I'm not sure why. It was something that, and it's really hard to explain, but basically what they thought were the toads and the frogs were of Satan type of thing, and they were bad animals or whatever. And yeah, they would kill them and use them for a lot of things, to be fair. And it was always ordained by God. Regarding these kind of workings, these were all ordained by God. And it was God that they would call upon when they would use these type of spells and stuff, And it's not how I learnt it at all. It's not. But at the same time, I do like to learn all the other different things that are out there that we wouldn't necessarily understand. I do like to learn different things. I'm fascinated by the various practices that are out there, even from toad soup, even from going way back. I like to look at the history of the different formulas that they used and such. Amber's still very big today as protection and other things, and amber was also big back then. It was mainly used as an amulet, and it would be a piece of red amber, and obviously it would be worn, and apparently this was a preventative from poisons and pestilences. If it was dissolved in pure spirits of wine, it was said to comfort the womb being disordered, which means to obviously, if there's any ladies that had any womb type issues, it would ease it, it would ease the pain, but it would have to be dissolved in the pure spirit of wine. You could use it as a fumigation, which means you would have to also dissolve the amber with the warts of the shank of a horse, as this will cure many disorders, especially in the womb region. So you would need to find a horse, and the shank of the horse, you would need to find a wart. You would have to take off that wart, take the amber, and dissolve them both together. And then you would apply it as an ointment on the womb area. The liver of a serpent is said to be an easer of labour back then. You would take the serpent's liver, and you could use the liver and gall of an eel. You'd have to obviously dry it out, reduce it to a powder, and it would only need to be like a nut size pinch, and place in a glass of warm wine. And apparently this aids a speedy and safe delivery in labour. I mean, that's way back, so please do not try any of these today. Please do not ever try any of these today. This is a disclaimer. This goes way back. It's very old. I don't want no one trying it today at all. No one should be trying this shit at home. Okay? No one. No one should ever. Water cures hydrophobia. Obviously. Music will cure a tarantula's venomous bite. Not tried that. Possibly. Who knows? The king's evil may be cured by a frog's heart worn about the neck. To spit on your hand and slap a person on a wound, it shall heal it. Please do not try this at home. Don't anyone ever try this at home, okay? Don't do it. But back then, spit on your hand, slap it on a person's wound, and it was said to heal it. It's not going to do that now. It's never going to happen, but this is what they believed back then. Hello, Walking with Tamsin. We are all adults here. At least we better be. Acid and shit. I didn't quite say that, Shandy. Honestly, woman, what you like. The juice of deadly nightshade. Again, please do not try this at home. Do not go near any deadly nightshade unless you know what you're doing, you know what the plants are, and you know what the plant's about. Please. The juice of deadly nightshade needs to be distilled. It's got to be given in the correct proportions, and it makes the person imagine whatever you choose them to imagine. No problem, Tansen. Yes, the juice of deadly nightshade does do that because it's also used in flying ointments and flying oils because it is an hallucinogenic herb. It makes you hallucinate. So it would do that. Of course it would. I mean, this is going way back, but it still does that today, you know. And I'm pretty sure many people actually know that, though, I would think. Earthmark, comfrey, and flaxweed, dragonwort, adder's tongue, steeped in cold water, then applied to a wound, and could have covered for a time in mud, would cure the wound. It would cure the wound, apparently. I've not tried it. Like I say, these are very old. I wouldn't suggest trying it. A sapphire stone of true deep blue, rubbed on a tumour, it shall be drawn out of the body if it's not gone too far. So if you have a sapphire stone, you can rub it on a tumour and it will draw it out of the body if the tumour's not gone too far. Never tried it. Like I said, this is very old. Very, very old. The instrument of many enchanters, and I guess they would call them different names back then, but not necessarily a witch, you know. I've noticed that in the prima materia, many are called enchanters. I'm not sure why that is, but the instrument of an enchanter is usually pure. It's living, it's breathing, it has spirit, it has blood. We will bind, we will attract things, you know, we desire. We will use words to bind with, in which there's great virtue, as the poet sings. Hi, Barbara. Words thrice she spake, which caused at will sweet sleep, appeased the troubled waves and roaring deep. Do you get that, guys? Words thrice she spake, which caused at will sweet sleep, appeased the troubled waves and roaring deep. That's to put someone into a slumber. Words are great. Effort is intended. Words are powerful to an enchanter. Then we come to the very, very obvious word of abracadabra. Abracadabra is not what you think, okay? People have took it as a joke. It's not a joke. It really isn't. We go back to the prima materia and it works in and it goes sort of way back, and the way that it works in a pyramid, and it's usually an amulet for the flux of blood, which means it will help steady the flow of blood, so the oozing wound, so to speak. Blood diseases, blood that's not traveling around the body properly, blood that's pouring out of the body. That's what abracadabra is actually used for. That's what it was originally used for. And it's a real word. It is not a joke. And that's one thing that riles me up. So, in the blood, Adam arose death. In the blood of Christ, death is extinguished. In the same blood of Christ, I command thee, O blood, that thou stop fluxing. Those are the words that are spoken with the abracadabra, right? And the way that it is put on an amulet, it is put in a pyramid. So you start at the top and you write abracadabra in capital letters. The next line, you will miss out the A, abracadabra, then you'll miss the first two out, and it would be racadabra. So, and it goes down like that until you get to the bottom where you just literally add the A. So you are taking away the letters each time. So when you take away the A the first time, then the next time you'll take away the AB, then you'll take away the ABR. And the thing is, it's a real word, and it is used by the power of Christ. And it's put on amulets as a pyramid. So it's not actually a joke word. It's a real word. It's just used in a very different way. And it's just like people usually don't get that. It makes a powerful charm. There are also two Arabic letters that make a powerful charm. And I have them here, but obviously, anyway, the point is, it's to fix and cure. That's what it's for. And it should be carried with you at all times. It can also be used, the Abracadabra formula, the pyramid formula, where you go way down, to see spirits of the air. But if you're wanting to see spirits of the air, you would do the Abracadabra formula, and it requires the gall of a man and the eyes of a black cat. The gall of a man and the eyes of a black cat embedded into the amulet that you will wear. Please do not ever try these at home. These are very old. They go way back. They are not to be used today. I am just basically telling you the difference from back then to now. Blood of a lapwing, bat and a goat, smeared upon steel, a smooth shiny piece, the mugwort, or use juice of mugwort to fume and smear, shall invoke spirits to appear, any spirit one chooses. And what that means again is we can use the Abracadabra formula going down into the pyramid. It will go into the talisman, but you'll need the blood of a lapwing, bat, and a goat. You'll have to smear that blood upon the amulet, and then you'll either take mugwort juice and you'll smear it with that, or you will fumigate it with mugwort, so you'll burn mugwort. However, either way, regarding old witchcraft, you will notice there's always a sacrifice of a living thing, which is why I say do not do this now. Please do not try it at home. Do not go away and think you can do this. Okay, it's very illegal. Don't do it. It's not. This is old and not to be done now. It was what was done back then. There are potions to make you walk in your sleep and do all that can be done in the day. Of course, very inappropriate to use these days, as it has been known to cause the party involved to go insane. Well, you can imagine if you are walking about in your sleep while you are asleep and someone sees you, it's that person that you're going to send insane, not yourself, but you will send them insane. But the abracadabra is a real word. It's always been a real word. It is just used in a pyramid formula. It is used by the grace of God, as I've said. This is what is said upon the amulet, and it will say abracadabra all the way down. Oh no, this is real stuff. This is real, Barbara. This is very much real. I mean, it's as real as it gets. And in the blood of Adam arose death. In the blood of Christ, death is extinguished. In the same blood of Christ, I command thee, O blood, that thou stop fluxing. That's what the amulets made by those words, if you're wanting to prevent blood problems within your body. So abracadabra, then you would put bracadabra, racadabra, acadabra, cadabra, adabra, dabra, abra, bra, ra, ha. And it goes down like that in a pyramid. And you write that on your amulet. And like I say, with the different bloods, with the gall of a man, the eyes of a black cat mixed into that amulet, you will see the spirits of air. If you're wanting to connect with a particular spirit and you want to call them forward, it requires the blood of a lapwing, blood of a bat, and the blood of a goat to be smeared upon the same amulet with the abracadabra formula. And then if you can't smear it in mugwort juice, you would have to fume it in mugwort by burning mugwort over it. And yeah, this is what they were used back then. Yeah, of course. Please do not try these at home. Please do not go away and think that you can do magical things. Please don't do that. That will get you into serious trouble. Okay. Don't do it. Please. Take a needle smeared with dung and put it pointed up in the earth in which the carcass of a man is buried. Then return the next day. Wrap the needle in cloth used at the same man's funeral. No man will ever be able to get near you and defile you as long as you carry that needle. So yes, take a needle, smear it in dung, stick it in the ground, pointed up in the earth. Make sure that the carcass of a man... No, it's not, Sean. Not really. It's not really frowned upon, but it's not really legal either, unless you've got a medical card. So, and the idea is this needle needs to have been used at the funeral of a man as well. So what you're doing is you're sticking the needle covered in shit, sticking it upwards in the ground where the man's been buried overnight. You're returning the next day, wrapping it in cloth and carrying it with you for the rest of your days. Please do not do that. Please do not do that ever. Yeah. Whew, please don't. Root rhubarb can be used against cholera. Treacle can be used against poison. This is back in the day, not now. Sapphire against fevers, heats, disease of the eyes. Amethyst was used against drunkenness. It doesn't sound healthy, does it? Please don't try it. Jasper against body flux and offensive imaginations. Emerald and Agnes cactus against lust. Yeah, I know, but it is what they used. It is what they used. Well, I've got journals, Barbara, family journals actually. It takes me a while to decode them. I was showing Shandy some pictures earlier because it's Hebrew, Arabic, and Latin is what it comes in. So first you have to decode what was really written, and then once... Hello on the road, how are you? Once you've decoded what was really written, then you can get down to what's really being said, basically. So yeah, but I was doing Yorkshire sayings, but I couldn't understand them and I couldn't even pronounce them, which is really weird because I'm from Yorkshire. Yeah, I was born one. I'm not a Wicca. Wicca's got nothing to do with witchcraft, and I'm really sorry. Wicca is a spiritual following that was brought forward from witchcraft, but it is not witchcraft. Witches do not have rules. Witches do not have a creed. They don't have a creed. There are no rules, there's no creed. It's do as thou will. Simple as. Wicca's very different. It's nothing to do with real witchcraft. It's nothing to do with it at all, and people get it mixed up. Wicca is a spiritual following of the witch, kind of, but it's just a spiritual following. To be into witchcraft and witchery, you're born one, basically, or you're put into a coven or a family, like I was made to be. But yeah, it sucks sometimes. Coral is used against pains in the stomach. Topaz against spiritual heats, such as lust and all manner of love excess. The gall of a cow is meant to drive a man away from the place. The gall of a cow will put fear into man but you've got to smear it on him. I mean, I'm pretty sure that if you went up to a man and you rubbed the gallbladder of a cow on him, he would run away, wouldn't he? Because he'd be like, "This bitch is psycho. I am gone." So I'm pretty sure there's no magic involved there, is there? About driving away stuff. I'm pretty sure that's just like, "Bitch, you crazy." You crazy. Apparently, back in the day, if you applied a mouse to the bite of a scorpion, it would cure the scorpion bite. Hmm. Garlic and the fat of a hen prevents the attack of panthers. Anybody who lives near panthers, because I don't. I'm pretty sure a panther's not going to come and get me. You know, a live duck applied to the belly will remove any pain, but it will fly away and die after it's removed it. Just remember that. Please don't try these at home. Please don't. The warm heart, fresh from the weasel or a mole, should be swallowed immediately, as this shall show you your future and what is to come. I'm good, thanks. I won't be doing that. Ugh. Remember the rule. Anything taken from an animal, the animal is meant to be alive while it is done. That is the rule of their form of craft back then. Take the tongue of the water frog. Replace the frog back in the water once you have its tongue. Lay it on the beating heart of a woman, and she shall be compelled by thee forever. So basically go to the water, find a frog, take its tongue out, put the frog back in the water, because it's even better if the animal lives afterwards. Once you put the frog back in the water, lay that same tongue on the beating heart of a woman, and she shall be compelled to thy will at all times. To carry the tail of a weasel that escapes is apparently, it means that no dog can ever bark at you. I mean, these are just bizarre, aren't they? But they're like what they believed in back then. The tongue of a chameleon brings success in trials. It's usually hung outside of the area and not within. They would do this, such as witch trials. They would try and basically, if they had access to a chameleon, they'd rip out its. I'm not being. I'm good. They would rip out the chameleon's tongue and basically nail it on the outside where the trial was to take place. Of course, as you know, it can't have worked, can it? Because well, I'm sure we all know the story of how that went. And there weren't even witches half of them, Like, they weren't witches, those people that got hung. They were basically like, some of them were midwives, yeah. Some of them were probably herbal ladies of their time, But most of it was arguments over land. It was arguments over land, and it was poor against rich and rich against poor. You know, it weren't like what people think. This is interesting. Please do not try this at home ever. Okay? Hairs from the woman when she's menstruating should be put under dung. If it is left under the dung, it shall breed serpents. Imagine that. Seriously, imagine that. Hairs from a lady who is menstruating at the time, yeah? Put those hairs under dung, and it would equal to the breeding of serpents. Do you want to know why they say that? Because back then, women should be seen and not heard, remember? Back then, women were temptress. They were they were the ones that would lead us to sin, so they said, So that's why this came about. The hairs of the menstruating woman put under dung to breed serpents. It comes from the idea that we're evil, basically, as women, but we're not, obviously. But that's what they actually believed back then. We was told to only be only speak when spoken to, and well, it was a lot different, wasn't it? It was a lot different. If we look at the other countries now, like Guatemala and stuff, they still actually burn women alive on the street via accusations of witchcraft. Do you know how sad that is? That is so sad. And I'll tell you something else as well. Some of the young girls will marry an older man, a very older man, the elder man, right? And basically, if he dies, which he's going to do, he's going to die, right? She's got to be buried with him. Do you know that? Buried alive with his possessions and him. Bear in mind she's young, forced into marrying an older man, and she has to be buried alive with him because it's their way. How sick is that? I'm sorry, I will never agree with that, ever. But that's where the idea of the menstrual blood from a woman being so powerful as well. Hello, Sandra. It's because women back then were seen as nasty, lustful women that would tempt men to sin. Because obviously it's never them, that's how it was back then. It was always the woman's fault, which sucks. So that's why they say take the hairs of a menstruating woman, put it under dung, and you shall see it breed serpents. It's just trying to make out that we're evil. That being said, they also say to take the hairs of a menstruating woman, throw it in fire to burn, and it will scare away any serpents. Because again, we are scary, apparently. We're so scary. A living crab, broken legs buried under the earth, a scorpion shall be produced. So it says. Do not try this at home, please. A duck dried into powder and sprinkled in water generates frogs. Again, please do not try this at all. This is really, really old stuff. Bake a duck in a pie, cut it into pieces, place it under the ground. It shall spring forth toads. The stomach of a hart roasted and put perfume alongside with menstrual cloth with menstrual blood on it, will make crossbows useless for killing any game. Now, I'm not sure why that is. That one's a little bit weird. Yeah, it was a bit like that for women back then, Barbara, especially any woman who wanted to speak up. Any woman who had their own opinions, they were seen as the hellfire. That's what it mainly was about. A woman who had knowledge, a woman that was willing to speak up, a woman that knew about her herbs. Witch, burn them. That's basically what was done. A piece of hippo flesh and black flesh from the forehead of a colt newly foaled is also made into a potion type deal. But it will also need the blood of the intended. So the idea is you would mix them with like the blood of a man, let's say, if you wanted the man, and you would you grind it all into a drink, and that's a love potion. And if he drunk it, he would fall deeply in love with you and he'd never be able to get away, basically. But bear in mind, you're going to have to kill these animals. So please do not do this at home. This is very old. It's not done anymore. It's illegal. Don't do it. If you can find a stone that has been bitten by a mad dog, place it in the drink, and this will cause your intended target to possibly die. How nice is that? Okay, then. The red toad has a bone in its left side. The bone in the toad, by the way, on the left side can actually warm up cold water on its own. When that water is given to dogs, it restrains them when raged. They become faithful and service able, apparently. Please don't try that at home again. These are old. They're not to be tried today. I know that feeling, Sandra. I have trouble making friends because of who I am, what I am. Um, they tend to just be like, yeah, no, you know. Saint Anthony's fire restrains love and lust. I'm sure you all know what that is. Dissolving and boiling the brains and heart of a bear in new wine. It's meant to be given to the person, but however, you've got to give it to the person to drink in a skull. Okay? This is a possession. This is a possession. So what happens is if you take let me just break it down for you because mine are done in code, and if I read it to you in the code, you won't understand it. You will take the brains and the heart of a bear. You will boil it. You will then pulp it so it's into a new wine, which means a fresh wine, one that's not been opened, not been messed with, right? You will then pour it into a skull, usually the skull of a bear. You will give it the person to drink. What this does, it is said that the person will take on the aspect of a bear, become furious and rage-like, and all. You know what, Shandy? You asked me to go live. You were like, "Oh, please go live." You needed something to do tonight. You wanted me to go live, and I've gone live, and like, feels like really you're not interested. So, the ink of a cuttlefish is apparently meant to make blackamoors appear. Yeah, well, it's like that old thing, Sean. Do you know, like, I don't want to say so much skinwalkers and things like that, but it's more a psychological thing. So if you tell somebody, well, you drink this and you will become in the aspect of a bear, they're already thinking it before they actually drink it. And back then, it was such a belief that when they had drunk it, it was usually mixed with hallucinogenic herbs. So obviously, that's when sort of like they would hallucinate, they would believe they were becoming this animal. They weren't, not physically anyway, but they would take on all the aspects in a psychological way. You can call it what you like. Call it what you like. Hi, Sling. Hi, Sling. Now the fat of a black cat would need to be mixed with man's fat and also man's marrow and the brains of a crow or raven. This is then formed into a candle. Absolutely, Sandra, I would love to be on your show. This would be formed into a candle. So bear in mind, you're taking fat from a man and the fat of a black cat. You're also taking the marrow from a man, but the brains of a crow or raven, and you're going to make that into a candle. When you made that into a candle and you light it, it's going to show intended horrors. Now, the horrors it's going to show will be intended for another. So, for example, if you make this candle and let's say you want someone else to see how they will die, because that's a horrible thing, right? Sorry, Sean. No problem, Sandra, whatsoever. No problem. I know I miss you too. It's been a long time, Sling, a long time. It'll show them their worst death. Now, this doesn't mean it's going to show them what's actually happening to them. It means it will show them what you are instilling into the candle, you know? And as you know, with witches, I mean, witches like me, I use Latin a lot, Arabic. We have some Hebrew as well. So there would be certain things that would be said. you know, as we were actually doing it, you'd say certain things. Um, Now, if you want to induce love, so if you want to make someone love you, you will need the eyes of a dove because those are the main ingredients and they have to be a pair of breeding doves. So you would take the eyes of the doves and the blood of the doves, and they have to be a breeding pair, and you would put that in the candle. You would light it, and well, that's meant to induce love, I guess. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this episode here for now because everybody else is like, it's all right. There's much crazy stuff with real witchcraft, I'm afraid, Barbara, and it's not nice. The things that I've seen growing up have not been nice. I've been thrown into it and such. Um, so if I were to go into it, it sounds mental. I appreciate that. It does sound mental. But at the same time, I was conditioned to see particular things. I was conditioned to be a particular way. And when that conditioning takes place, it's very hard to come free of it. Very hard to come free of it, you know. You get the doves, Shandy. Doves you can buy. They have to be alive though. This is what I'm saying. Please do not do this, okay? Don't ever do any of this stuff I've spoke about. This is all very old witchcraft. It's actually known as witchery of its day, and it's very much illegal, and it's not allowed to be done anymore, okay? It's illegal. Please don't do it ever. Please don't. Next Friday, Sandra. But next Friday, I will be on as the Midnight Fairy. I won't look my usual self. I'll be completely different, and I will be the Midnight Fairy. I'm a Rose and Thorn, Sandra. I was born one. My first initiation was done at four, between 4 and 6. Um, my blood was given 3 drops of blood in exchange for 3 drops of green blood. And I was laid upon the ground naked and bare for the spirit to come. Very different. Yes, I'm a weirdo, but not by my own fault. As I was brought up, it's just my different beliefs, you know. So no, I did not sing. I'll tell you exactly what we say if you like. As we rise, we're put into a trance, Sandra. We give blood. We then receive green blood. We're put into a trance. We are laid on the grass, naked and bare. Things happen, things are seen, whatever. And then we rise. And as we rise, we raise our arms toward the sky. I am a witch of the old ways. Arms stretched out to the sky. I am created by the stars. I am envisioned by the moon. I am fated by the sun and given form by the land. And I stand, feet firmly in shadow, arms raised towards the sky. That's what we say. And our mortar and pestle is the penis and the womb. The wand is also a penis. The broom is obviously masculine, feminine. One side's a vagina, other side's a penis, and the witch rides the broom. Hence, because the witch rides a penis. Just that's how it is. It's yeah, it's different indeed when you are put into a family thing and you don't like. It's like they say that you've got a choice. Yeah, that's the thing. Like they say, oh, you've got a choice. You don't have to. Like this is your choice, but you know if you don't, you're an outcast. So do you really have a choice if you're an outcast if you don't? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not really having a choice, is it? And there's no, like I said, we ain't got a creed. There's no creed. That's for Wiccans, and that's not real witch. Witches do not have a creed. There are no rules in witchcraft. Do as thou wilt. Do as thou wilt. That was it. There was no creed. Never any rules. Never any rules. A witch's way was to do it. Just do what thou wilt, no matter what. Um, it's not all nice, of course. You know, I can honestly say I had to have counselling, Sandra. So, I had to have lots of go through a lot of things um to make me the person I am today. And today people just call me a witch. But I would say that I am a spiritual person on my own path because I know what being a witch is. I was in a family of witches, and yeah, that's Wiccan. It's different to what I did, Sandra. It's completely different. I mean, we're talking orgies at 14. We're talking sacrifices. We're talking invoking Lucifer, using instruments, collecting menstrual blood from a cup and using it in rituals. You know, we're talking serious shit. And I think that's the thing with English witchcraft, though. Um, English witchcraft back in the day was completely different to most of what I've known. After all my studies through the years and after what I've been through, the closest thing I can find to English witchcraft is hoodoo, not voodoo. Voodoo is all about God. In voodoo, they worship one God and one God only. It is very religious, it's very structured. Hoodoo is taking voodoo back to its original forms because that's more spiritual and an enlightening, and you can use your hoodoo dolls. It was never voodoo doll, they changed it. They changed it because it sounded better. It was Marie Laveau. After Marie Laveau, they changed all the concept of voodoo, but voodoo is very much very religious, very organized, very almighty God. That's what voodoo is. Hoodoo is not, and that's completely different. And I think a lot along the way got mixed up and muddled up, unfortunately. But I mean, I've studied it all my life. I've studied many different paths because of what I was thrown into. I wanted to find something different. I wanted to experience different things. So I looking at it now, I think English, we call him Lucifer, but we also call him Dianos, not Diana, but he's the opposite, obviously. Dianos. We call him by a few names. And then the Pan that they say is Satan is nothing but an elemental being, is a fae being. They were fawns of the time, they were beings. Um, I mean, there's been a lot of mix up, they mash shit together. Um, and I don't know, they've just mashed it together basically. That's what they've done. They've mashed it all together, and I don't know, made a mess of it, made a mess of it. And but saying that over here in England and our witch ancestry and things like that, it's very different to America. It's completely different. Um, I think that plays a big part as well. So, you know, Well, I mean, you could say he's a fallen angel, but like I said, I wasn't brought up like that, remember? I was brought up that Lilith is Diana, Diana is Lilith, they are one and the same person. And she was jealous of her brother's light. Yes, he left heaven because he did not want to be underneath God. This is what they say. He didn't want to be underneath God. He wanted equal for all, and God wanted to be supreme above all, which makes him a jealous God. If you know, if he's out there, whatever, it makes him a jealous God, doesn't it? However, the point was, I was taught that Diana, whatever you want to call her, Lilith Diana, same person to me. She wanted to steal his light, so she transformed herself into a cat at night and snuck upon his bed. And as she curled and purred by his side, she changed back into her original form. And that's when it was too late, for she tricked Lucifer into sleeping with her and bearing a seed. We all know who that seed was. And within this, Diana stole his light. Black magic. Okay, you see, again, there is no black to me, there is no white. Magic is magic. It's right down the middle. If you're a witch, you do both. There ain't no black, there ain't no white to me. I weren't brought up like that, Sling. I was brought up you do what needs to be done to get shit done. And you do what needs to be necessary, whatever you need to do. This rule as well, the rule of karma is absolutely, of course, to everyone. However, there's ways around it in witchcraft. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, Lucifer's not Beelzebub. He's not the devil neither. They're all set. I don't believe in devil. Do you know that? My grandma said to me, if the devil exists, he's a very beautiful man. But we don't, as witches, we don't believe in the devil. We are not taught anything about him. What I learned from the Catholic side of my family. You know, from my other grandma who were Catholic. I learnt about the devil through that side. My grandma, the witch, weren't interested in him. Didn't pay him no attention. Weren't bothered. But then again, my grandma didn't exactly believe that God existed. You know, she believed we were a creation. Regardless of what created us or created the earth, it doesn't matter because we're on a cycle. And just like dinosaurs become extinct, the human race shall become extinct. But the earth, even if it's destroyed, shall carry on. Nah, not true. In fact, I do have various Arabic writings you can put on mirrors that are meant to show you things, Shandy. I'd advise you not to do it though. Voodoo's not dark magic. Sling, you're wrong. Voodoo invokes God, Christ. Voodoo symbolizes there is only one God and they worship God. It's a religion. It's a religion. Look it up. Actually do your research. I have studied most crafts I've studied and I've not stopped studying them. I still study from today because I'm still learning. But I can assure you, voodoo is not dark. It was the case of Marie Laveau that made them believe voodoo was dark. And Marie was an inspirational person. She was a very inspirational woman. And if you actually do your research on her, things that were said about her were speculation. None of it were proven. None of it were proven. You know, the fact that they said she could be in 4 or 5 places at once, the fact that apparently she drank blood and sacrificed animals, it was never actually proven. It was just speculation. And you know what people are like with speculation? They'll take it, they'll build on it, then form more stories. It's like Chinese whispers. That's all it is. Go and research Marie Laveau. She was the one that brought voodoo to light, and she was a very, very inspirational woman. She was just wow, you know. Um, but at the same time, people assumed she was all about voodoo, but actually she weren't. She was practicing hoodoo as well in secret. And that's where the dark side came from. It came from hoodoo, not voodoo. Voodoo's very much religious. It's very religious. It was never the voodoo doll, it was always the hoodoo doll. It got changed. It got changed over time. You need to do your research. Really honestly, sit down and research all these things and you'll know. You'll realise if you sit down and read, mind you, I did classes and stuff like that because I wanted to understand different things and I wanted to know that not all witches were bad, like my family. Um, and so I did study and study and study, and I still do to today, you know. But like, there's so much misconception around it. It's unreal, you know. Like we're all evil. We all do evil things, and it's not like that. Do you know? Right? It takes a witch a lot more to get mad. It takes a witch a lot longer to break. It takes a witch so much to push her over the edge because she's so used to it. She just takes life in a stride because she knows one day it'll all be over and she understands the concept of time being very small, you know? Yes, that's right, Sandra. Well done. See? Yep, Caribbean, it did. That's where it originally came from, Sandra. It originally arrived with, and I'm sorry to say this, please do not think that I do not mean no disrespect, but it came from the slavery trade back in the day. It really did. And it was, and it just, what happened were, is because it ended up being run into Catholicism and Christianity, it all got mixed up, and that's where things became confused. You know, it's just one of them things, isn't it? Everything does that. It's Chinese whispers, it goes through things all the time. But I was very confused growing up because, you know, on one side we had the family of witches, and they weren't exactly nice. My family weren't exactly nice either. Hello, Jack. I hope you're all right, Jackie love. Um, and then we have the Catholic side. So I kind of learned both put together sort of thing, and it muddled me up. It made a mess of me, like growing up, you know. But you're right, Sandra, that's exactly where it comes from. Exactly. And it definitely doesn't mean that it's black magic at all. It really doesn't. But I really need to go because it's Friday. I don't know. Is anybody else live tonight? Can anybody tell me if, because I forget. I'm not very good. Help me what? What do you want me to do? Yes, I thought you were, Sandra. I thought you were. That's why I need to get off. I need to get off because I need to be at yours. I don't know. You need to message me and tell me what you want me to do. What do you want me to do? Why are they devastating you? What have they done? Oh my God, Shandy, you know though. You need DNA for that. Have you got his DNA? You know, for a real thing, for it to really work, you need DNA, right? You know this. I've taught you this. I've taught you that much. You can do things that will bring bad luck and it'll go away eventually, but it'll, but to do something like that, something so deep like that, you need DNA. You really do, honestly. I swear, you need DNA. That is the only certified way that it would hit that person. You would need DNA. And I tell everybody this to not listen to people who spit curses because they can spit and fling curses all they want. But to actually do a proper curse, you need their DNA. Full stop. Full stop. You need the DNA. You really do. Without that, it'd just be a shot in the dark, really. You know? It's because it's about energy, isn't it? And you've got to bind that energy to something. in it, you see, even when you meet someone personally, you get some of their energy, don't you? You know? So when you get some of their energy, you've got that feeling you can connect to it. Are you listening to me, Daisy? Are you enjoying it? Oh, my dog's fair listening to me. She's like tilting her head and looking at me. It would if Shandy did it, it would, yeah. And that's the thing. And like I was saying, Jackie, people think it's just words and it's not, you know. There's more to it than that. There's a lot more to it than that. And it's like, I don't know. I just
Mate, witchcraft, it's not a toy.
it's not. It's not a toy. And people think it is. But they don't understand what I've been through. They've not been through what I've been through and they've not seen what I've seen. I mean, how many years?
Witchcraft in UK is completely different.
It
to
isn't
America.
UK. Yeah, witchcraft in America,
Everybody's got their own spins on
they
it.
have. In America, it's very tame compared to English as well. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna go because Sandra's going live and I don't want to miss it. Um, so yeah, it wasn't meant to be about Yorkshire sayings, but I started that and I couldn't even read them. I couldn't pronounce them. I couldn't say them and I couldn't read them. But we'll definitely get into this a lot more when I come back. Um, you know, and I'll talk about some more. We might get into the hermetic arts as well the next time I come back, which is something else completely different, you know. Yeah, she needs to cut cords. That's very true. Sever connections, cut cords, Shandy. Sever connections, cut cords. Snip, snip, snip. Right. I shall see you all later, guys, and hopefully I shall see you over at Sandra's. Yes. Ta-ta, cheerio. Auf Wiedersehen. Bye bye. Good night.